Hello, welcome back to the James Rambling Reviews for yet another episode. And in today's episode, I'm actually going to be bringing you something a bit different, but also something that I've not actually talked about in quite a long time on the review show, as I don't really talk about many Korean drama stuff anymore, mainly because I don't watch this genre all the time. Usually I'll find something occasionally, then I'll watch it every now and again, but not always, not every single week kind of thing. And the reason why I'm saying that is because in today's review, I have something for you. It's called Mission Cross, and it's a new Netflix kind of movie. And I will give you my thoughts on it, give my rating out of 10 and stuff like that. But before we get into how I felt about this movie, stuff like that, I'm just going to give you a bit of context right here. So I've actually been into Korean dramas before, and as I mentioned, I've reviewed them before. So some of them range from like Korean drama shows, and some of them range from like a couple movies that came out. And a lot of these that I've covered is actually a lot of Netflix stuff. So there's a lot of Korean dramas on Netflix, and one big one was Squid Game, and Squid Game got me into this entire genre pretty much, if you know what I mean. And so from there, I watched a few of these K dramas, and I just couldn't stop watching them. They got to a point where I actually watched Old Boy on loop. And during COVID, what else could you do at that point? So I was watching that on loop non-stop. I was obsessed with it, right? And I knew the storyline so much because I was watching it so much. And then after a while, I forgot what the movie was about. Then I actually rewatched it recently, and I still enjoy the movie. It's quite a weird movie. So there is quite a few things that I have a bit of an enjoyment for K dramas. So that when we get into Mission Cross, right, this is a movie where I actually watched the preview of this movie. So like on Netflix, you could see the preview of what the movie on whatever looks like, what the movie or the show could look like, what the premise is, stuff like that. And it didn't give away too much. It kind of felt like these silly little scenes with this woman and this guy. And so pretty much what this movie is about is, I would say it's an interesting one, because the premise alone, it doesn't exactly happen till later on, because you have this couple, right, this Korean couple, they live with each other pretty much. And in the preview, right, there's this guy and he takes the money from the woman, and then the woman has this thing on her face and she looks as like, oh, what did he do? And they have this banter together, and it's really funny. And the movie is an hour and 40 minutes long. And so the movie, it's the couple, right? And then you have that. But the guy actually has this whole backstory where he was this agent dude or this guy in the military. The lady doesn't know about that till later on in the film. And then there's this whole thing where, I'm not going to spoil how it actually happens, but there's this whole kind of thing in the movie where the guy is actually having an affair with someone else. And it's all just kind of like an operation to see where it's going to go, and it gets a bit crazy. So that's what this movie is about. It's definitely like that. And so I would say that this movie, it feels like an action comedy rom-com. I wouldn't even call it a rom-com, to be honest with you. There's no like scenes where they're kissing or anything like that. It feels like it's just a giant joke, in my opinion, if you know what I mean. So how do I feel about this movie? So I'm going to be honest right now and say that I absolutely had a really good time with this movie. I wasn't expecting much because, I didn't really know much about the movie going in. Yes, I read the premise. Yes, I saw the preview. The preview didn't even give away much. And what I really like about this movie is that even though I can read the subtitles, understand what's going on, I'm not like fluent in Korean. And so the fact that this movie made me laugh like 99% of the time is actually a good thing. It gets to that point where I couldn't stop laughing. Yes, there's a few points in this movie where it stops to kind of have a serious set of emotions going for it. There's a bit of like a storyline, there's a bit of these serious things happening, and how this guy, the guy with the couple thing, he had this whole thing where he was this guy in the military. And there is a point in the movie where they do kind of mention his backstory, but it's not like this exposition dump where they explain it for 29 minutes straight. It's not going on for that long. Like, the pacing of this movie is incredible. It runs really fast. Like, I didn't even realize how long it was. I couldn't even feel the running time, and so for that alone, it's really good. It's really funny, and it does get straight to the point at some points. Like, when you feel the characters are actually taking Like they have the banter, they have the jokes. You feel that. The action, when the action happens, you feel that. It just runs super duper fast, no time wasted. Like you could actually watch this and have a really good time with it, and that's what I really liked about the movie. It's not trying to like change the genre that it's in, and it's definitely not like, you know how there is a few Korean ones where they do the dramatic revenge story. It's nothing like that. It's completely different. And I would actually say this is also another thing about this movie that I found super interesting, because I did review this movie called A Family Affair. It's like this American stupid bad rom-com. But once we got to this Korean thing where there was this whole plot line about the affair and how that whole thing turned out, it actually made more sense in this movie. It was just meant to be like, I'm not going to spoil what how the whole plot reveal was, but it definitely just turns out to be a giant joke, and you'll understand why when you watch the movie. So out of 10, I would give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. I would recommend it. I actually don't know why barely anybody's talking about this movie. It's going under the radar. You definitely should check it out. It's actually better than your average straight to streaming thing where it's just like, oh, it's kind of mediocre. No, I really enjoyed it, and so that is how I felt about Mission Cross. The title is so weird, but I absolutely enjoyed this movie. So let me know what you felt about this movie. What would you give it out of 10? Stuff like that. And stay tuned for more like this review, as I am going to be reviewing this other movie called Trap maybe tomorrow and share my thoughts on that movie as well. So yeah, bye. Mission Cross review out. Peace.